Okay, so I'd like to continue our exploration of TensorFlow. I'm at this site, tensorflow.org/tutorial/quickstart/beginner. And in this video, we'll go ahead and do basic text classification. And your part will be to do the exercise at the bottom. So there is an exercise at the bottom. So let me go ahead and run in Colab. And we can see how this works. I don't need the table of contents. And this is a neat exercise that does something very practical. So it's sentiment analysis. There's a database of movie reviews, and you train the classifier, which is a neural network, to distinguish between reviews that are positive and reviews that are negative. Now, in order to train, there has to be labeled data. So there is labeled data for you already. They arranged all of that. All right, so let's try to go through this cell by cell and see what it's doing. This first cell imports all of the libraries that you need, or you can call them libraries, call them modules, that you need to do the functions that are needed in this classifier. So you can go through and find out what all of these are. First one here is for plotting. So here, look, you can see that there is some explanation if I put my mouse over the name. If I put it here, let's see what it says, OS. All right, so this says OS routines. So this is how Python interacts with OS. This one is regular expression. If you want more explanation of these, you can just go, for instance, do a Google search and look for Python RE and see what that is. So what is RE in Python? And you also get an explanation. You also get an explanation here. All right, so you can do that. Let's see. So I don't know the other ones, but you can go through and see what they are. I mean, we have our TensorFlow, which we know is our machine learning platform. Keras does our neural networks. So neural networks are composed of layers, and we'll see what loss. So you also use a loss function in order to train the network. Pre-processing, because sometimes before putting it into the neural network, you have to process the data first. One particular kind of pre-processing that you use often for text issues, text problems, is text vectorization. What that does is it converts a text into vectors. Typically what it's going to do is it's going to convert each word into a vector. And that vector kind of expresses the meaning of that word. It's kind of a neat innovation, and there's a lot to be said about that. But for the purposes of this tutorial, all you need to know is that it's converting words into vectors, and those vectors express the meaning of the word or give some indication of the meaning of the word. All right, so let's see our version of TensorFlow. It's not really important, but we can just do that. All right, so here he says sentiment analysis. So here he's explaining the movie database that you have. You can read up on what that is. There are a lot of databases out there, and here we need labeled data. So we need both movie reviews and we need some indication of whether they're positive or negative. So fortunately, someone has done this for us already. Here is where the actual data is. Notice here that it ends with .tar.gz. That means that this data is zipped up. It's zipped up into a single file, and in order to use it, we have to unzip it. Maybe you've used zip on your Windows. Probably if you go here and you open some folder, if I go here, I can right click and then I can say, and then it should say, well, mine says 7-zip, or it should give you an option to do something here. Well, all right, not with a document, but if I take a folder, if I click on a folder and I right click here, it should give me an option to, you can do send to, where should it be? Send to something. Should be somewhere. Send to compressed zip folder. All right, so that's what's going on here. This folder is compressed on the internet. And fortunately, the Colab will unzip it for me, because so I don't have to do that myself. All right, so let's see what's going on here. All right, so here we're getting a utility that says get file. So this is a file from this URL. Untar equals true means you have to unzip this directory here. I'm not sure what this cache directory, cache subdirectory stuff is. And let's go down and see what the next part says. And then what we need is a indication of what the dataset directory is. I'm going to go here and add here a print dataset dir. Okay, and it should tell me what the directory actually is. Okay, and then let's go on and see what that says. I guess it's going to take a while to open this. It looks like it's going to take a while. Maybe I should pause for a minute while it's doing this. All right, so it did indeed take 37 seconds. And this is the name of the directory. So this means like your home or base directory. That's what the dot means. Slash means this is a subdirectory. And this is where we have our IMD database. Okay, so let's see. So we can see what directories are in this dataset directory and see what they are. And let's go down and see that. So these are all subdirectories within that database. So you have this here, and you have Readme. So this is a file, and then these are directories here. Now we'll see in a moment how you can actually read these files. All right, so let's see what's this one doing here. This one is saying, this is my training directory. So this is, you can see this train is a subdirectory within the directory where the data sets are. And this is going to give me the files and folders in that directory. So let's look at that. All right. So this is going to be our training data, which includes both positive and negative reviews, and then some other stuff here too. I'm not sure what all this is, but some of these are folders and some of these are files. The .txt you can see is a file. All right, so let's see. So for instance, here we have these two directories, the one that named pause and one that's named negative, that contains text files, each of which has a single movie review. Okay, so if we do this, here this is one particular file from the pause directory. Now if I wanted to list all of the files in the pause directory, I could do something like this. I could do my same command here that I had to list the directory, but if I wanted to list the directory that's pause, I could simply do another join. Let's go ahead and add a code cell here. And let's see, we'll call this pause dir is equal to, and then I can do os path join, now train dir, and then I can do .pause. Okay, so that's going to go to the subdirectory within the training directory, and then I could say os list dir of pause dir, and that's going to tell me everything that's inside pause dir. I'll change to a standard runtime, that's fine. Let's try that. Okay. All right, so these are all the files inside. So these are all reviews, and there are lots of them, so it doesn't actually list them all. But I don't know what the numbers mean, but each one of these is a review. So here it says, let's take a look at one of them. All right, so what this does is this takes the training directory, and this selects one of those files. And then this is Python's way of opening this file. So you're opening this file and you're calling this file f, and then this operation reads the entries in file. Now, since this is in a positive directory, I would expect this to be a positive movie review. Whoops. Oh, I think what happened was I have to go back and rerun everything because I changed the instance. I suppose if that happens, you have to go back and do that. So I'm just going to take a moment to go and do that and catch back up again. So I'm going to pause and get back here. The reason I had to rerun was that I switched the instance. It was running on a graphics processing unit, which I didn't need. And it gave me a warning down here, so I switched. But then I have to rerun all of the cells. So I reran the cells, and let me go ahead and do this again, and this should be fine. All right, so this should be a positive review. It says heartwarming story about grief and cherishing the memory, although only 15 minutes long. Okay, blah, 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 touching performance. This certainly looks like a positive review. Okay, so let's see, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, this is certainly a positive review. All right, so let's go down and, all right. So we want to load all this data that's both positive and negative. So since we have positive and negative, we should have two classes. So there's other stuff inside that directory, inside the pos directory. So we want to get rid of the other stuff. Or sorry, there's other stuff not inside the pos directory, but the pos directory is together with a neg directory, and there's some other stuff in there too. Let's see where that was. Yeah, here we have neg and positive. We also have some other stuff as well. And we want to remove the other stuff because we only want to look at neg and pos. All right, so let's look at that. So remove those other directories. Now you may or may not have to do this. I just want to tell you what you're doing here. All right, so you want to remove this directory, which is the other directory that's in there. Okay, and it's done. Okay,